Alrighty guys, thanks for joining this Christmas meetup. As you can see, we have the Christmas feeling ongoing already in Team Kontena, so again welcome. Today is mostly not me speaking, which is probably good for you guys. I see a lot of familiar faces and I guess you're almost tired of hearing me talking all the time, but today the main topic is actually a case study how Juha and his team are using Kontena while renewing some part of the services kind of powering the City of Oulu's traffic info systems. But as we're also live streaming it to YouTube, I thought that I'll give a kind of quick 10-ish minutes intro to Kontena, because I guess most of you guys are somewhat familiar with Kontena already, but there might be some people online listening in with who are not that familiar with Kontena. So I'll give it brief, and for most of you guys it's probably repetition, but that's matter of all learning, right? So yeah, my name is Jussi Nummelin, and I'm working as a developer advocate here at Team Kontena. So kind of the talking head of the company, more or less. So yeah, Kontena is of course the heart and soul of Kontena is the open source platform that we've created. It's really powering all the kind of SaaS offerings that we have nowadays also in our kind of portfolio. But we are really still 100% open source people by heart. So don't worry that we'll close it up or do anything stupid with it. But of course, on top of that, we've built the Kontena Cloud, the nice UI dashboards and everything, which is kind of the SaaS offering that we have at the moment. Providing a lot of cool features, the dashboards and everything, the full kind of management part for the platforms. There's the web-based management UI. Of course, we then of course provide commercial support plans, and kind of the latest addition to the kind of commercial offering that we have is the compute nodes, which you can provision pretty easily through either with the cloud plugin or the CLI, or then on the dashboard itself. So you can get basically a turnkey solution from us, of course with a bit of money. That's pretty much it. One thing I'm not sure if people have already seen it or started to use it that much, but what we have also available is a hosted solution for your private images. So it's called Kontena Image Repositories. So you can really easily push your own private images that are accessible in your Kontena organization only. So that's quite a new feature that we have. Couple of words about the actual technology part. So the kind of heart and soul is of course the Kontena platform, the kind of open source technology that we have. So what we do is we take a set of nodes, whether they are hosted by us, whether they are hosted by you running on your Amazon account, your private data center, up cloud of course is a good option, or basically anywhere. We take a set of nodes, combine that as a kind of grid, kind of a cluster. We automatically create the overlay network on top of it, so it's really easy for your containerized applications to talk to each other within the overlay network, regardless of whether your container is running on your private data center, whether it's running on Ubuntu on UpCloud or wherever. Super easy networking for the containers automatically. There's of course DNS-based service discovery in place. So whenever you spin up your applications in containers, all of the containers get a DNS address. All of the services that you spin up and manage get a DNS address. So it's really easy for your WordPress to talk to MySQL just by using the MySQL DNS name. The WordPress doesn't have to understand where MySQL is running. It doesn't really care. And of course, the heart and soul of Kontena is the actual orchestration engine. So the orchestration engine makes sure that all of your services are running somewhere within the cluster. If some of the nodes in a cluster fail, Kontena automatically then transfers the load to the healthy nodes, and so on. It automatically balances the load, so there's enough resources being used and being free, also, you know, on the other hand, being free on the grid. And basically, on top of all of these kind of architectural layers, there's then your containerized workloads, your services that are powering your users and your use cases. The lighting isn't the greatest, but I guess we can manage. So on the node itself, there's basically one single thing that has to be kind of installed on the node, and that's of course the Kontena agent. And when saying installed in a big quotation marks, you don't actually have to even go and install any binaries, because surprise, surprise, it's a container. So it's really easy to spin up Kontena in basically any environment. And of course, by using our hosted solutions, we basically automated the hell out of the process, so it's just one click of a button on a nice UI for you. And then, of course, when the Kontena agent spins up on the node, it then orchestrates everything else into place. So the user doesn't have to figure out how to create overlay networks, how to configure networking for the containers or anything. The agent automatically handles everything needed in place. The Kontena master is the kind of the guy making all the decisions. So the nodes and agents are kind of stupid in a sense that they just execute what's told to be executed. They don't make any actual decisions what to execute where. So it's always the master who makes the decisions that okay, this container should run on that node and so on. And of course, in 2017, the master can be controlled through REST API. And of course, the preferred ways to interact with the master is, of course, through the Kontena Cloud, the UI dashboard, or with the Kontena CLI tool. And of course, the CLI tool talks with the REST API. So, and as everybody knows, as it's a REST API, it's pretty easy to integrate anything with it. Just curl something, and you're good to go, right? We really have basically all the batteries included to run successfully your services in containers. So we have the private image repositories as a hosted solution. But if you want to have a kind of a full control of your own images, how and where they are stored and etc., you can actually even spin up a registry with one single CLI command within the platform environment, within the cluster, so to say. There's a built-in VPN access point. Again, one single command, Kontena VPN create, to create a VPN access point for the overlay network. So by default, the overlay network is private, so nothing is exposed to outside world if you don't tell Kontena to expose something. And of course, quite typically, you want to run some database maintenance or some other similar tasks where you want to actually connect to the database without actually exposing it to outside world. So the VPN access point is a really nice tool for that. There's a built-in load balancer in the platform solution. So when you want your WordPress site to be scaled up, of course you need to have a load balancer in front of the WordPress containers. So with Kontena, it's basically 2 lines in YAML configuration, and that's it. You don't have to worry about how the load balancing actually is implemented. You don't have to go and write any HA proxy or Nginx or any other configuration. You just basically say to Kontena that I want this service to be load balanced, and that's it. And just last Friday, we released a new version of the load balancer, which supports now even HTTP2, which is pretty cool. And of course, we had quite a bunch of other nice, cool things, but I think the HTTP2 is the kind of coolest, best new feature that we released. And as Kontena basically manages all the containers and all the workloads for you, we pull in a lot of data from the containers. So we aggregate all the statistics from your containers. We aggregate all the logs from your containers. You have one single entry point to actually see all the logs of your service. How's my application doing? Why is it failing on this request and so on? Of course, user management. So there's a kind of role-based access control, who can do what on which environment and so on. And of course, in many cases, it's even a kind of a regulatory requirement to have an audit trail. So also Kontena keeps track that who did what and when. If nothing else, you need that to blame somebody who broke it on Friday evening, right? There's a built-in secrets management solution within the Kontena platform, so you can easily store your database passwords, API tokens, or certificates in a Kontena vault. And Kontena makes sure that it's secure. So all the time when the data is at rest, it's encrypted. When it's transferred from between the master and the agent, it's basically always going through TLS sockets. And basically at the last point where Kontena agent injects the secrets into the containers, they are kind of opened up. And of course, the best part of having a kind of central place to manage your secret is that you have one central place where you can actually change your MySQL password. You don't have to go and hunt down that which of the 7 services actually use MySQL. You just change it on a vault, and Kontena automatically knows that which services are using the secret and then redeploys all the needed services automatically. Makes your life easier, if nothing more. Kontena is really a kind of a platform agnostic solution, so you can really run it anywhere. Of course, we support many of the cloud providers with the CLI plugin tools that we have, and of course, maybe you should have a Kontena cloud logo also in here, because that's the easiest way to run Kontena platform. Just let us host it for you. But of course, you can spin it up basically anywhere. Wherever you can run Docker and containers, you can run Kontena. Because that basically Docker at the moment is the only requirement that we have on the environment. That's it. Alrighty. I guess that's it for the intro part. So maybe we should move into the more interesting topic, that how people are using Kontena in real life projects.
Hello, hello everyone, and thanks for Kontena for the invitation. It's my pleasure to be here, and Merry Christmas to you all, because this is a Christmas celebration event. So I'm here to tell you about the project that we did last summer. This presentation is going to be quite high level. It's not too technical, but feel free to ask any technical questions if you have those. and I didn't do it alone. I did it together with few of my colleagues. They are working in Sonde Systems and Kirkas Media. And me, I'm Juha Kärnä. I'm from Kodeverde. It's my company, and I do web development, freelancing, contract work, and also this kind of projects. About my background, I've been doing web development now for 1.5 years, and before that I worked for about 2 years in web development project as a Scrum Master and project manager. And before that I was in embedded development world, so I've been doing software development a bit over 10 years now. So about this project that we did, it's part of this ITS Oulu pilot series. This is from the ITS Oulu homepage, but it's a smart mobility alliance in northern Finland. And they are arranging these kind of small pilot projects during the coming years. And this is the first of the series. Some projects of those are more about software, like this. This is about web development, but then again, some are more about the hardware or combination of both. And the purpose of this project that we did, it's about renewing the current Oulunliikenne.fi service. The current service is quite old already. It's fully functional, fine, but the outlook, for example, is quite dated already. So always planning to renew that service, and they are planning to use this DigiTransit platform in that project. And this pilot is the purpose of the pilot is to get more information for them for the actual bigger project, and then again get some kind of feeling that is the DigiTransit platform suitable for them. I can quickly show you the current service, how it looks like. So it provides features for public transportation and for cycling and bicycling and for private cars also. And it's still working fine, even though it looks a bit old. A little bit more about this DigiTransit. It's an open source journey planning platform. It's made by HSL, and it's also used here in Helsinki in production, and I think it's been like in production level use already quite a while. And for example, this reittiopas.fi uses the DigiTransit in the background. I can also give a quick look about that to you. So basically, it does pretty similar things than the Oulunliikenne.fi does. But this service is more oriented towards public transportation. So you can find like routes from A to B, and you can also check some timetables for like nearby buses, for example. And what we did actually in the project was that we implemented features from the old Oulunliikenne.fi service, which are not in the DigiTransit platform, because the Oulunliikenne.fi service, it's more oriented towards, or it contains features which are also for private cars and like bicycles and for walking, whereas the DigiTransit is oriented towards public transportation. So I can show you.
Are you committing that to the open source project with the changes that you are implementing on top of it?
What we did is open source. The codes are publicly available, but they are not part of the DigiTransit platform. If we wanted to, because this is pilot, it would have required quite a lot of more work to make them compatible with the DigiTransit platform. So we hope that in future, when the actual project is made in Oulu, I hope that they choose that kind of approach, that they could also contribute for the DigiTransit platform. But like quite in early stage, we already noticed that there is these challenges when you want to bring something of your own features and your own vision in this kind of open source platform, because you need to make it comply with that. So, but this is the service that we did. It's publicly available in this domain. So it's pilot1.its/oulu/pilots.fi. Feel free to go and check it out. I can show you some of the features here. The Outlook is something, or at least should resemble the Reittiopas service, but there is also some differences. What we have done here is basically these features that are on the right side here. So there are features regarding congestion and traffic cameras and driving weather and so forth. Let's tune back a bit. So, for example, from the traffic cameras, you can see the feed here, and the traffic flow and the congestion is shown here using the colors. The green means that traffic is flowing nicely, but red means that it's quite crowded there. There are also features for showing the parking space statuses, so that user could see that do they have free spaces for their cars if they go to the city. And we also added few features which are not actually about transportation. They are more about the city services, because we felt that this kind of map platform is quite nice way to show the services that the city provides. So in this pilot we also added this kind of features for the city to think about, that would say maybe want to add these kind of features in nearby future in some other services. So we added these outdoor gyms here, and also some events are visible here. So yeah, that's what we did. I could also show you. This also shows the real-time locations of the buses. The real-time information itself, it comes from the DigiTransit platform, so it's not something that we implemented, but we added it into this context, that when you click a bus stop, you can see the real-time locations of the buses in the map.
Of individual buses?
Yeah. Basically it shows the buses that are going around in the map, which are some of the buses that are mentioned in the bus stop. The DigiTransit platform. This UI is one part of that. I think this is completely done by the HSL, but the DigiTransit platform combines also many of these other features which are not that obvious for the user. So there are components which can create you the map data and serve you the map data, and you also need geocoding APIs and map APIs and then again the real-time data. So HSL has combined those into this DigiTransit platform. But yeah, now we get to this part which is also about Kontena. At least in my experience, when we are talking about this kind of entities like cities, especially in the past, they have been often preferring like local hosting services over this kind of international big cloud providers. I think they are also going. The direction is to go to the cloud, but they are not necessarily the first one who has been there. So I guess that's one of the reasons why we chose to use Kontena and UpCloud in this project. We felt that it kind of combines some good sides from self-hosted solutions and then again from this kind of cloud services. And it was a no-brainer for us to use cloud, some kind of cloud container solution, because HSL has already made those components in such a way that basically there is Docker files available for each of those, and it's meant to be run in containers. So it was a kind of an easy choice to use some kind of cloud container solution. So the flexibility and this bring your own infrastructure model, I think it fits in this project really well. Well, this is a pilot project, so basically, but many solutions would fit the bill. But I think this was a good opportunity to promote this kind of model. Basically, you could have your services, for example, in Helsinki, just use the UpCloud plugin and set them there, or if you feel that you need to set up some of your services, maybe in Oulu, for example. I don't know the reason for that, but if there's need for that, then again you could do that, but still add those local servers into the same Kontena cloud. And then again, if you need to do something very, very cheap and you want to use some international big cloud service, and you are free to do so. You can add also those into the same Kontena platform that you're using. So the solution is not tightly coupled with any specific hosting or service provider. I think that's good in this case. And at least our opinion is that it's very developer friendly platform, this Kontena and UpCloud also. I have to admit I've only used the UpCloud plugin with Kontena, but that has been working very well. So because we wanted to, this was quite a brief project during the summer, we wanted to get the development going as soon as possible. So it was fast and easy for us to set up the development environment using Kontena and UpCloud. The setup itself was quite simple in this case. We had a small team and we only needed a simple development environment which was connected to CI and CD. And at the end of the project, we basically changed that to be the production environment. We added a few nodes to make it a little bit more reliable, but it's still a quite simple system. We have a three nodes where we run these application containers and load balancer, and we have also one PVIC application and database there to track the usage statistics. But I guess that's about it from my part. Would you have questions regarding this?
Overall, time-wise, how long did it take you to spin this all up? Weeks, days, months?
No, days. Or do you mean implementing the project or setting up the environment?
Yeah, the start of it. When you started everything, like how quickly did you find to set it up?
Well, it's definitely days. It didn't take that much, and for us it was easy. Also because we knew the HSL guys before this. We had met with them, so we were allowed to use theirs, like the backend services that they are using in their development environment. So we didn't need to, or we didn't have to set up the backend services at all. We were able to use their services. So we just had to set up these front-end services.
If a pilot project gets approved, like what's the rollout schedule, or like when can we see this in Helsinki if everything goes awesome?
Well, I'm not sure about the exact schedule, but at least the initial plan was to start the bidding for the actual bigger project, maybe even during this month. But I think the bidding should start during the coming months. So.
How long does the bidding take? I don't know.
Well,
It's a public tender. Yeah, it's like 3 months maybe.
well, yeah, it's
Fast. Okay.
yeah, it's something like that. The Oulu has been preparing for that from the summer, and this was kind of the core part of the preparation for this bigger project, because they wanted to get more information about the digitransit and how suitable it is for them, and like this one question, it was about this open source, and it's just not that easy to find an efficient way to work in this kind of open source project, because Oulu might have some needs that are challenging to get into the core open source solution. So they have like challenging decisions to make. That do they want to go all the way to the open source, or do they fork the open source solution, or what do they want to do? But anyway, the actual the bidding of the actual project should start pretty soon.
I mean, cities can go to open data, like Helsinki has done quite a big part of it.
Mm.
I think it's really nice direction with these public things to actually publish the source code as really open source. I mean, it's a really great move from the kind of official point of view. I really like it.
Yeah.
Because it's
for the taxpayers
yeah,
too.
exactly. I mean, it's public service anyway, so why shouldn't the code be public? So it's really good. Yeah. Yeah. So can we now go to all the city officials and hey, I paid that, show me the source code.
Yeah. Any other questions?
How big was the development team that made all this happen? How many guys did you have, or girls?
We had like 2 designers and two coders. So it was small team.
Was it a great effort to customize the existing
Yeah.
applications containers? So the question was it a great effort to customize the existing applications Docker containers?
Well, in the beginning it took some time to get to know the code base, but I think we we had a quite good start, so we got things done in quite good fashion. I think we spent like 3 months with this, but then again it was the summertime, so we had holidays and those, but yeah, it was definitely more than 1 weekend, so it required some work, but then again it wasn't a huge deal. And we also got good support from the HSL guys, so that was good also.
Thanks.
Yep.
How many containers was actually there in the total solution, and did you deploy with like a single container stack, or how did you kind of structure all of that?
We have 1 stack. I think we have 8 containers there now. Basically, we have 3 of these application containers and actually 3 load balancers, even though only 1 is actually used, and the BBIC requires the application and the database containers. But then again, if you need to set up the whole DigiTransit setup, if you would need to set up also the backend services, you would need quite a few more of those. Any other questions?
What was your toughest challenge?
I was struggling with the module which handles the maps. What is it called? I don't remember the name, but this JavaScript module that handles the maps and the icons and the pop-up things on top of that. So that took some effort to get in a reasonable shape. And then again, it was also kind of general challenge to fit the planned features and the vision that we had for the service to kind of make it work with the DigiTransit platform, because the focus in the DigiTransit platform is the public transportation, and it differs from the overall idea of the Oulu service. So.
So Kontena was the company that created this service, but what was the company behind this DigiTransit thing?
Well, it's made by HSL. So it's made in Helsinki.
Anybody know if HSL has their own developers, or have they actually kind of outsourced it, or I have no idea. I live in Tampere.
So question, if you think that somebody is coming as a new guy to work in the Kontena upcloud environment, for example, what is the sort of learning curve there required to be productive?
Well, to get something working, I think it's not that high. But then again, if you think about that, if you are making a service which needs to be, for example, publicly available, and you are expecting high usage counts, then again you need to think about much more about these things and like this logging and scaling and all those things. So it's never-ending thing. No matter what service do you use there, but I think it's really easy to get started.
Just for the previous points, I think the HSL has 1 or 2 programmers, and then they use outsourcing. But they employ open source or code opening programmers as vakituinen, as in permanent position, and they are very active in social media. So you can always ask at GitHub or Facebook and get answers there. And by the way, I work for the City of Helsinki as an open source coder. So we also do open everything we do.
Very good.
Actually. So, what do you say? What would you get? What more did you get from Kontenas compared to, say, Docker Compose? I mean, compared to the simplest possible option, I'd say.
Well, at least it's super easy to get also the for example UpCloud services running with the plugins. So that's one thing, and of course the Kontena platform, it's much more feature rich compared to this Docker Compose.
All right. So you took advantage of the batteries.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Thanks.
Any more questions?
Looks like folks are out of questions.
All right.
But of course, everybody is feel free to hang around, have some more pizza and beer, and for the live stream, we just go actually into the stream. For the live stream, guys, thanks for joining, and we'll probably stream next time, someday next year. So have a happy holidays and everything. So thanks for watching the stream.